Whoa.
I feel like we just look like slow zombies. We're in space. Look at us.
Okay, so listen, the CGI budget fell through the last second.
Sure
there was supposed to be a planet behind us. We're talking about space games.
We are. Hello, my name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
We're the Brothers Murphy. Yeah, we're talking about space games. Games that are themed around space, set in space, things like that.
Take place on non-Earth planets.
Yeah,
things like
generally,
that.
exactly. And so, yeah, we're talking about space games. This is a very big genre. There's a lot of like generic space games, kind of like, you know, just like, oh, there's always in space. It's a great place to put it. It's that infinite frontier. You can kind of do anything on this planet because it doesn't exist, right?
Exactly.
I will say that we're in this list going to stay away from games that are specifically about like terraforming, so like terraforming Mars, Planet Unknown, things like that. And also, we've only played like half a game of Gaia, and we're not huge, massive fans of TI4, so just know that.
Some things will be there, but there will be 10 games that we really like about space, and get your picks ready to put in the comments below while we talk about number 10. First up on our list is MLEM Space Agency. This is a game where you are kind of collectively pushing your luck as you are cats visiting distant planets and stars and hoping to get to deep space. This is a game that we actually played right here on Board Game Geek with Lincoln and Nikki on game night, so you might want to check that out. It's super fun, where you are basically cats going onto a rocket ship, and there's going to be kind of a, you know, the leader of this expedition who's going to be rolling dice, and you are rolling dice and hoping to roll dice that are matching the different pip spots that are on the space that your rocket ship currently is. Maybe you can only roll 1s, 2s, and 4s. If I rolled 2s, I can collect all of those 2s that I rolled, say I rolled 3 of them, and move 6 spaces forward equal to the pip values. Then you're gonna land on a new spot that's gonna give you new rules about where and what you can roll in order to keep moving. And those 2s that I use are now gone. I have fewer dice to roll, so it's gonna be harder and harder and harder to keep going further and deeper into space, which feels thematic to me, to be honest, because yeah, it is hard to go farther away from Earth. And every time you stop, you successfully, move your ship forward. Any and all cats, including the expedition leader, can decide, I'm gonna hop off onto a moon next to this planet, or onto a planet if that's where your space is. I'm gonna leave now and basically be able to keep my cat there to score later on in the game, or score some instant points depending on where you stop off. If the expedition leader leaves, the next cat in line becomes the expedition leader, and they get to then decide, do I keep going? Do I stop? And if you ever roll and you can't move, and you don't roll any successful dice rolls, you blow up, your ship blows up, your cats come back down to Earth, they always land on their feet, and you try again. So this is a fun game where you're just trying to get rid of your cats on these different planets and things. They each have like a little ability and stuff, and you are again kind of collectively negotiating with each other, like, roll those dice one more time, I'm staying on the ship, I'm not leaving yet. Or are you trying to hedge your bets and just like, I'll take the points that I know I have, I'm gonna hop onto this moon right here.
Our number 9 is going to be Eclipse, Second Dawn for the Galaxy. This is a big 4X space game. It's kind of our 4X space game that we choose. We're not super into 4X space games, but this is kind of the one that we tend to choose. Although I want to play more Gaia, I want to play more TI4, things like that. But nonetheless, this is the one that we kind of got started on. This is a big 4X space game where you are, expanding, exploit, exterminate, and exploit, exterminate, Expedia.com. That's the one. I forgot the fourth one. But nonetheless, you're doing those things. And everyone has a specific alien race. They all work slightly differently. You're getting technologies that are going to allow you to do different stuff. You're building out ships. Those ships you can put different weapons on and shields on, and you're going around exploring a big hex map. It's like the prototypical 4X space game. It looks like a 4X space game, it plays like one, but it's really fun. It's a game that we don't play very often. I want to play a game of Eclipse, or really any big massive 4X game, once a year, once every 2 years. That's kind of how we work for games like that, but we do enjoy Eclipse a lot. I actually have not had a chance to play the newest version of Eclipse. We had the older one, but one of our friends has a new one, so I do want to get it back to the table, because I do enjoy Eclipse when I'm in the mood for that, hey, let's play a 4-hour big 4X space game, and I want to play that new one because Eclipse is just fun.
So next up is Star Wars Rebellion. Now I sense that you're getting angry. Just one thing to note about a couple picks in this list. This is at 8 because only I've played it. Nick hasn't played it. This game's amazing. Don't get it twisted, all right? We just don't want, don't add us. I mean, you can add us if you want to, it's fine. But Nick has not played this game yet, but I have. And this is, of course, the game that's been, advertised as being Star Wars in a box. It pits the Empire versus the Rebel Alliance against each other. You are playing one side or the other. You are revealing events, kind of going through the story. But what's really fun about this is that the story might follow how it went in the movies, or you might divert way over here and change the narrative into this kind of new version of the story. Case in point, when I played recently, Obi-Wan got turned to the dark side. Just like straight up got turned to the dark side. I'm like, I don't remember that scene in the movie. As a Rebel Alliance, I took Coruscant, which was very bad for the Empire, but then I ended up blowing up the Death Star in an X-Wing, just like the story foretold. And that was very satisfying. So this is one where, again, you're kind of shifting the focus of where the main events of the story are taking place. Like for us in our play, Kashyyyk was the epicenter of so many kind of conflicts and battles and events and things. And Kashyyyk's a part of the movies, but not the main part. So I loved playing in the sandbox that is so familiar, but remaking the story in a way that's unfamiliar. So playing in familiar territory, making something new with it was super duper satisfying. I can't wait to show this to Nick because I think he's really gonna love it. But that's why it's where it is, okay?
Now, TI 1, 2, 3, and 4 might not be on the list, but dang it, Twilight Inscription is because I actually really, really like Twilight Inscription. Both Mike and I do. This is the Twilight Imperium roll and write, which to this day is a weird concept. It's just such a funny concept. But this is like, what does it say on the box? It says 90 minutes to 120, so 2 hours. I don't know if it's quite that long, but it is pretty darn long. But this is a big roll and write game where you're gonna have 4 of these really big boards, and you're gonna be rolling out dice and then drafting these dice, and it's essentially gonna allow you to cross off different parts on kind of one of these sectors, and those are gonna allow you to do all sorts of combos. And now you get to draw over here. There is kind of like the war part of it where you're not really fighting each other like you do in like these kind of big 4X games, but you're essentially gonna be like comparing what you have to your neighbors, which is one thing that's nice, because even if you're playing a higher player count game, you really only care about your neighbors, which kind of speeds things up, and which is nice. And you're getting, again, bonuses, you're getting all different kinds of stuff. There's like technologies you can unlock. There is a lot. It's a very big roll and write game, but I actually think it works really well. And when you get into it, when you have it out in front of you, it looks really intimidating. You're like, holy crap, there's stuff everywhere. There's all these symbols. These boards are all completely different. Like, how does this work? But when you kind of get into it, it's actually not that bad. I learned this while on a layover somewhere, and then taught it to Mike like that night in our hotel room at like 2 a.m. and we played it, and it was really, really fun. And we've played it a couple more times since then. I've always just really, really enjoyed it. Like, man, I really like Twilight Inscription. I'm glad I kind of picked it up on a whim. And it's just, I don't know, I just think it's a really good time if you want like a big, for years we're like, man, what if they made a really huge roll and write? Well, they made one, and it's actually really, really good. So make sure to check out Twilight Inscription if you haven't. It's a good time.
Now, I mentioned before certain games being where they are on the list because I played them and Nick has it. Number 6 is Gaia Project for the exact same reason. I played it, I love it. Nick has not played Gaia Project. He's played Terra Nova, Age of Innovation, so he's played these Terra Mystica games, but he hasn't played what is personally my favorite of all those games, Gaia Project. So this is a game where you are an alien race, and you have basically a player color that will pertain to your player board and your alien race, and you're gonna have asymmetric abilities and things that are gonna give you a bit of a focus. And also the main thing is it's gonna give you a home planet type that you are able to live on. It's conditioned to what you need to survive. And you are going around the galaxy exploring and stuff and finding different planets and terraforming them to your home planet type. You need to be able to to, you know, exist on this planet if you're going to stay there and build up any kind of infrastructure. And as you get those things built, you can start to build buildings on those planets, which are going to give you various types of income depending on the type of building they are. Your kind of little outposts at start are going to give you ore and things, which are going to help you build stuff up. But you might want to get those upgraded to trading posts and stuff, which start giving you money and some power that you can use. You want to build up kind of your, you know, your faction's epicenter and stuff that give you these really powerful things. But as you build stuff, you're going to kind of replace things, and those are going to go back on your board and cover up some of that income you lost or that you gained before. Now you're not going to gain. So you need to find balance. Find balance to make sure that you're getting all the stuff, the money and the resources you need to be able to do things. There's also technology tiles you can get, which give you these, you know, kind of powerful bonuses, potentially more income for every round and all sorts of stuff. This is a game that's just so fun to explore, so fun to try to figure out, how do I maximize my faction's ability? What is their style? What are they kind of attuned to? Do I want to race up the different technology tracks? Are they extra good at that? Using the power in my kind of power cycle to do additional actions and things. Like, what is my faction's specialty? How do I harness that? And then every round in the game, you're going to have certain types of things that you build or things that you do that are going to be worth bonus points. So I need to also capitalize on, like, what's valuable this round. Is it building those trading posts? Okay, let me try to line myself up in the previous round to make sure I can do a bunch of those trading posts so I can get extra points throughout the game. So trying to capitalize on my faction's ability, what's available right now and what's valuable, and then think about some of those end game scoring things as well. It's super duper fun. It's different every time. I think Nick will really like it because he likes the Terra Mystica games. And this, to me, again, for my money, is probably still the #1 best one of them all.
On number 5 is going to be Chimera Station, or Chimera Station as we say. Chimera Station is a really great game where you are on a space station and you are building it out kind of collectively, and you are trying to have your aliens essentially get the most points. This game is, I'm really glad, because this game actually just recently, as the time of filming this, just got onto BGA, Board Game Arena, and that's great because this is a tasty minstrel game, a company that doesn't exist anymore. And I was really worried that this game was kind of gonna go away forever. And I don't know if they're ever gonna like reprint it or anything like that, but it's nice that it's on BGA because this game can kind of live on, which is really great. But this game, as you can see right here on the cover, this alien is kind of disjointed. And that's because in this game, you have these really great little plastic pieces, and you can actually unsnap and snap them together, because throughout the game, one thing you can do is you can add body parts onto your workers, because it's a worker placement game. You can add like tentacle arms, which means that anytime you're getting resources, you get another one of those resources, because you're essentially like and grab another one. You have leaf arms, which means you don't have to feed yourself, because you can just, like, I guess, eat your own arms. You have big crab claws, the red ones, which can like bop people out of a space and kind of kick someone out. And then you can have a big brain in there, and the brain will essentially give you extra points for going places. And that's really cool. And every one of your workers can have 2 body parts. It can be the same body part or 2 different body parts. So you can really customize your workers in this game, which is really cool. This has got a great gimmick, but the gimmick works for the game. And the gimmick is also crucial to the game. It's part of the game. It's not just there because, oh, isn't it cool? Look, they snap together. It's like, no, part of the strategy and part of the game is how you literally physically build your workers. And it's really fun. I really like Chimera Station a lot. I wish this game got a little bit more love than it does. I'm really happy it's on BGA because it's just a weird, cool game and I love it.
Next up is Skymines. This is a game that is a redo of Mombasa, now set on the moon, and you are basically working with different competing companies, trying to mine and kind of get your outpost set out on the moon, mine helium-3 and things like that, and you want to gain as much money as possible, crypt coin as it's called in this one, which cracks me up. And you are going to mainly achieve this by having stake in different companies. If you see a company is doing really well, you can basically invest in that company and become a, get a piece of the action, as it were. And you're free to do this with any of the companies that are in the game. So if things are starting to shift toward a different company, and like maybe Nick is really building up the blue company, I can then shift and start to invest in that as well, and kind of, for lack of a better word, word, mooch off other people's accomplishments as you try to kind of survey the market, push things out to make sure that you are gonna get the best kind of return on your investment as possible. We really like the kind of moon setting, the theming and stuff, like, space travel, something that we're interested in ourselves. So we really like the idea of Skymines and stuff. It's a theme that appeals to us more than the original Mombasa, and so that's why it's on the list.
If you watch our top 10s a lot recently, you've known that we've kind of fallen in love with various deduction games. And one of the ones we fall in love with was The Search for Planet X. This is kind of one of the games that made us really fall in love with it. This is in a series of 3 games now: The Search for Planet X, The Search for Lost Species, and The Search for UAPs, which is unidentified anomalous phenomena? Something like that. UAPs, kind of like UFOs, basically. So actually, this one or The Search for UAPs could have been on the space list because they kind of have a somewhat similar theme. But this is a game where you are looking for Planet X, the mysterious 10th planet in our solar system, because I guess in this case, Pluto's still a planet. It's not, it's a dwarf planet. I'm sorry, I don't share the love of Pluto that everyone else seems to. Sorry, everybody, sorry all those Pluto stands out there. But nonetheless, this is a deduction game where you basically, all of the different things in our solar system, the various planets, the gas clouds, asteroids, things like that, they all have logic rules, whereas like asteroids, it's on a big circular board and there's different sectors essentially of the sky, and the asteroids always are next to at least one other asteroid. So if you find one asteroid, you know that the sector to the left or the sector to the right has an asteroid because they always come in clumps, right? The planets are never, I think, adjacent to a gas cloud, things like that, because the planet would suck up the gas cloud or some, I don't know, theme probably stuff. So there's all these different logic rules, and as you learn where certain things are because of these logic rules, you get to deduce where stuff is and where stuff isn't, and you can hone in on where you think Planet X is, and then you can, of course, guess where it is. And the game is run by an app, so the app knows where it is, and the app is constantly gonna be telling you, yep, this is here, nope, that's there. It's just really, really cool. It's just, I don't know, I love deduction games so much. We've recently got The Search for UAPs, which we talked about. We got it at Gen Con, we've already played it. It's also really, really fun. There's definitely some more going on. It's got like a rotating board because you're standing on the Earth looking up for, unidentified anomalous phenomena. But the Earth, of course, is turning. It's spinning on this big flat disk of an Earth that we live on. Still spinning though. And so the board is spinning. So as you figure out where things are, they're going to be moving in the sky as the board kind of spins around. It's really, really fun. They're both really, really good. I love these games. This kind of series is like usually my top 10 games of all time because I absolutely adore them. Search for Planet X is a banger.
Next up is Space Base. This is a game that's now been around for 6 years. It's been super duper popular. I play it all the time on Board Game Arena, and there's been a ton of content for it. This is a game where every turn the active player is going to be rolling 2 dice, and everyone has essentially kind of a fleet of ships that represent the numbers 1 through 12, which represent every possibility of 1 or the sum of 2 dice being used together. And you are going to be able to, on your turn, activate the 2 dice that you roll. Either, say I roll a 3 and a 4, I can either activate my 3rd and 4th sector, or I can add them together to activate my 7th sector. And these things are going to give you money to buy more ships, income, which kind of, increases the base level of money that you'll have every turn, and then rockets, which are your victory points, and it's a race to 40 points. So this is one that is so fun to build up your engine, because as I buy ships, the old ships are going to get replaced. They're going to get taken off my board, but they're not going away. They're going to get flipped upside down and tucked under my board. And now they have this little red banner, which is going to be awesome because it's something that will activate if someone else on their turn rolls that number. I can still gain stuff even though I'm not the active player. That becomes very fun and very exciting to try to think like, okay, 7's obviously a very common thing that gets rolled. People often roll, it's the most common statistically dice roll you can do with 2 dice. So I'm gonna really try to build up that 7 so that as the dice go around the table, I can hopefully trigger it a couple times, or at least trigger some other things to get, a little bit of points or income or money so that when it comes back around to me, I have more money to spend to get a higher level ship card to replace, because you have kind of tier 1, 2, and 3. So the tier 3 cards are gonna be way better than tier 1. So you're trying to build up this engine, but then get it shifted over to making points, because money's great, but it's not worth anything. You're trying to race to 40 points. So you need to make sure that you start getting these bigger cards are going to give you more and more points as you hit them, and that's where those kind of tier 2 and tier 3 cards come in. So it's just satisfying every time. The main thing that we talk about that we really enjoy about this game is that I'm always engaged. Like, if it's not my turn, I'm still paying attention to what's going on, because I don't want to miss, you know, a bonus that I'm going to get. And so I'm always paying attention to the game. It keeps the game moving quickly. It's just kind of infinitely playable and infinitely fun.
Shouts out to our friend Crook. Our number 1 is the, I almost said the search for Space Station Phoenix. Space Station Phoenix is our number 1. We really love Space Station Phoenix. Our friend Crook gave us this game. This is actually technically still his copy, because he's like, I picked up this game because I kind of heard it was good. Here, you take it, you learn it, tell me if it's good or not. And it's really, really good. Space Station Phoenix, you are building out a space station, and it's there's tons of stuff in the game, and you're only going to use some of it. There's a ton of variability in the game. Everyone has their own central hub of your space station that is going to give you some kind of special power. There are like 20 of them, so you're only ever using at most 4 in a game. So there's tons of different powers like that, and you have essentially different parts of your space station that you can activate through these gems, and that's kind of how you activate them. And they're going to do a couple different things. They're going to allow you to build sectors of your space station, which can hold various aliens. You're essentially kind of build a big hotel, kind of in a weird way, because you have people aliens and stuff who come reside in your space station. It's all very friendly, like no one's fighting each other, which is really, really nice. And so you can build that. You can like disassemble different of these other ships to get metal, which is really expensive. You can go back down to Earth to get like various resources like water and food to feed all these people, all this different kind of stuff. You have all these different actions. You can use other people's actions, but then they get some benefit for you doing so. There's like a diplomacy track that you're going up, which will give you bonuses. And again, all of these modules that you're building all have different stuff on them, different places you can put these little aliens, and different bonuses. Some will give you ongoing abilities. There's all this different kind of stuff that makes every single game of this wildly different, because it just depends on what's out there. It's really, really fun. This game, again, I feel like kind of flew under the radar. I think it's got kind of like a generic-ish name. It's got kind of a generic-ish look, where it's that kind of like blue-orange space station stuff. But it's really, really good. And I think it does look nice. It's just kind of generic. It's kind of generic spacey, but it's really, really good. So if you have a chance to play it, please play it. I absolutely love Space Station Phoenix. It came out of nowhere because it was literally given to us by our friend Crook, and we really, really enjoy it. Space Station Phoenix is a banger.
So those are 10 space games that we personally really enjoy.
Really, really like it a lot. Yeah, yep. It's a great theme. We both like space in real life. It's just, you can kind of do anything you want with it. It's really cool.
Yeah, space is like one of the most like classic board game themes to me. Like there's always gonna be games about it, because it is something that we as people are gonna be forever interested in.
Yeah, forever interested, always learning about. Yeah, it's just constant. I love it. So that does, nonetheless, down in the comments below, let us know your 10 favorite space games, space themed games. Some like First Rat's fine, because they're, it's on Earth, but they're trying to get to the moon.
Yeah, of course.
Why not? And let us know down in the comments below. And until next time, I'm Nick.
I'm Mike.
We're the Bros Murph. We'll see you later, everybody.
Bye.